Hi there. Welcome to your Pro System training session. With the help of my colleague Fergus, we will be covering 17 chapters to help aid you in understanding the Pro System. I will cover all areas of key navigation and setup. Fergus?
Thanks, Carly. I will cover all key day-to-day job processes to provide the most efficient use of your TechMan system. By the end of this training video, you will be an expert in all things TechMan.
Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 1 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover dashboard layouts. Let's walk you through the TechMan dashboard, which is designed to give you a clear overview of everything happening in your garage. There are three main views: month, day, and calendar. Each one gives you a slightly different perspective, helping you easily manage bookings. Right now, we're looking at the day view, which is split into three main sections. On the left, you've got your booked column, which is where you'll find your date selector. This always defaults to today, but you can use the arrows to move forward or back, either by a single day or a whole month. There's also a handy Today button that instantly brings you back to the current date, no matter where you've navigated. Just below that, you'll see your tallies. These track key service items like MOTs, services, and courtesy cars. They don't just show how many of each service you've got booked for the day. They also link directly to specific jobs, so you can see exactly where those numbers come from. Further down, you've got your hours tracking. The system automatically calculates your total available hours based on your technician's working times, including any breaks. You'll also see a live tally of invoiced hours, the total work booked for today, and the number of hours still available to sell. This means you can instantly see if you're overbooked, underbooked, or right on track. Below all that is a list of new jobs booked for today that haven't yet arrived on site. Each entry shows you the vehicle's details, customer name, allocated time, and any relevant tally markers. If you click the magnifying glass icon, you can quickly preview the job, update its status, assign a key tag, confirm customer details, or even record a payment. Once a vehicle arrives, you can simply drag and drop its job card into the Work in Progress column in the middle of the screen. This is where you'll track all ongoing work, broken down by job status. These statuses are fully customizable, so you can set them up to match your internal workflow, including assigning different colors to make things easier to spot. As the job moves through your process, you just drag it from one status to the next, keeping everything updated in real time. When a job is finished, it is moved to Work Complete. Once invoiced, it will show under Awaiting Payment along with any outstanding balance. And finally, on the right side of the screen, you've got the Technician column, which shows all of your available configured technicians. Switching to the month view, you get a bigger picture of your bookings. It works much the same way as the day view, but without the Technician column. You can hover over any date to see a quick breakdown of tallies and hours, and if you need to book something in for a future date, just click the book icon and schedule it straight away. You still have full visibility of ongoing work in the Work in Progress column, and you can continue dragging and dropping jobs between statuses as needed. Then there's the calendar view, which gives you a more visual way to manage your schedule. You can hover over time blocks to see more details about a job, drag and drop labour units between technicians, and allocate work that hasn't yet been assigned. Your job status colours will also be visible in this view, giving you a clear sight of the jobs booked. This view also keeps you connected to all the key information from the other dashboards, including tallies, available hours, and navigation tools to help you move through the calendar quickly. Across all three views, you have access to other useful features to help keep things running smoothly. The registration lookup is your go-to tool for quickly finding vehicle details such as previous job history and creating new jobs or estimates. You can also access Auto Data and Haynes Pro for technical data, repair times, and service schedules, helping you plan work more efficiently. The tyre lookup feature is accessible at the top here. It's a quick view of your tyres in stock. And for parts, you've got direct integration with Europcar parts, GSF, and Napa Auto Parts, so you can check live stock and prices and even place orders straight from TechMan. With all these tools at your fingertips, your TechMan dashboard makes it easy to stay in control of your workload, keep track of jobs, and manage your technicians more effectively. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 2 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover labor setup. Let's start by hovering over the Jobs tab and selecting labor types. Labor types are paramount, as they are the key headers used to categorize your labor units, as well as being used in vehicle reminders and reporting features. The labor types displayed will include options such as MOT, service, and standard labor types. You can create and customize your own labor types by selecting New Labor Types in the top right corner or the blue plus icon in the top left. Let's create a new labor type together. We're going to call this new labor type Tire Fit and assign it as our fourth type in the display order. We can skip both the MOT and service type tick boxes as these are not relevant to our new Tire Fit labor type. Next, we are able to select a sales nominal code to be set against this labor type. You may choose to select a default sales nominal code. However, as we have a tire sales nominal code, let's select that. To finish up, select the necessary sales tax code, which on this occasion is our standard rate 20% tax code. To finalize the creation of your new labor type, click the Save button. Now let's move on to labor units. Labor units are preset prices of the repairs and services you offer within your garage. Let's hover over the Jobs tab and select labor units. Like labor types, you can customize existing and create new labor units. You'll find an edit button at the end of each line if you'd like to make changes to existing labor units. However, let's create a new one. You can click New Labor Unit in the top right corner or hit the blue plus button on the left. Firstly, let's assign a new labor code. This is a shortened prefix for the full labor description. We will call this PUNCREP, for example. Now that's added, we can add a description of puncture repair. Next, we are able to assign a labor type from the drop-down menu, so let's choose our newly created Tire Fit labor type. A cost price can be added so you can report on the profit relating to this offered service, while the sell price is how much you'd like to charge the customer, excluding the VAT. Once you've added your pricing, we will now be able to allocate time to this labor unit. In the duration hours field, let's allow for 0.25 hours. The display duration hours field is useful if you'd like to allow for additional time in the calendar, while leaving the allocated time unchanged. Both the sales nominal and tax code fields should already be populated as we've set this according to the labor type. The minimum and maximum engine size fields are used in our web bookings add-on feature. You can also select a check sheet to be assigned to a job with this labor unit. However, this is exclusively available on the advanced and pro levels of TechMan. In order for VAT to be applied when using this labor unit, let's ensure we've ticked the taxable option. This option is something you may leave unticked if you're creating labor units relating to MOTs. If you'd like this particular labor unit to be automatically added to jobs for new customers, you can tick the New Customer Only tick box. For example, this could be used for promotional vehicle health checks for new customers. Ensure your labor unit is enabled in order to access it when creating jobs and estimates within TechMan. When creating jobs, the lightning bolt icon is used to select from your frequently required labor units. Let's tick Add to Custom Jobs list to add puncture repair to this icon. Lastly, we can select if we'd like to add this labor unit to every job or estimate created via the tick box. Now that we're finished creating our labor unit, let's hit the Save button to confirm the setup. Once created, we can at this point add any video slots. Please be advised, this is only available for the advanced and pro level packages. Video slots allow technicians to record and upload videos through TechView. Simply select on the drop-down here the type of video and then click Add Video Slot. In the Attached Products section here at the bottom, we can assign a product to this labor unit. For this puncture repair labor unit, let's add in a mushroom patch, as we would like this to automatically be added to every puncture repair carried out. Start by typing out the product number here on the left, which will bring up Mush Patch. Then just click Add Product. Now that we have created the labor unit, let's have a quick look at how this looks in a job or estimate. Simply start typing the labor unit here in the Add Labor Unit box on the left, and it should automatically suggest the labor units associated. Click on the labor unit and then the Add Labor Unit button on the right here. And as you can see, the labor unit has been added along with the product that we had just set. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 3 of your Pro System Training session. In this chapter, we will cover TechView check sheets. Check sheets in TechMan can be added to jobs to be completed by technicians in TechView. They range from service check sheets, inspection check sheets, or even vehicle health checks. Hover over the Jobs tab in your TechMan system and select TechView check sheets. Here you can see the ready-made check sheets in the TechMan system. Here we have a courtesy car checklist, 3 types of service check sheets, and a vehicle health check. First, let's try editing an existing check sheet, and let's start with the vehicle health check. Click on Edit on the right-hand side to start making changes. Let's scroll down and view the existing question groups and questions. The only question group in this instance is simply named Questions. If we wanted to add additional question groups, we could do so by clicking Add Question Group. Here we can also select Answer Questions as a group, which will enable the technician to answer the group as a whole, as opposed to opening each individual question. Below we have the 13 preset questions for the vehicle health check. You can edit the question text and even add a tip for the technician. The answer type can be adjusted per question in the drop-down menu. The options available are traffic lights, tyre conditions, commercial, yes and no, serviceability, multiple texts, free text, image upload, and signature capture. And here you can leave a note suggestion for the technician. On the right-hand side, you can assign a service assist video to the question, as well as allowing notes, supporting images, follow-up dates, and the question to be skipped by the technician. Additionally, you can delete a question here or assign it to any question groups that have been made. Once you're happy with your changes, ensure you scroll down and hit Save. If you'd like to create a new check sheet, simply select the blue plus button in the top left corner or select the New Check Sheet option in the top right corner. Now you can assign a name for the check sheet, then add a start and end message for the technician's benefit if you wish. Next, by selecting Answer in Sequence, it will ensure that the check sheet is answered in order. The check sheet can be set up to be added to all new jobs and also to be signed off on TechMan at the point of invoicing. From here, you can add question groups and questions as shown during the edit step. When creating or editing an existing job using the check sheets drop-down menu, you will be able to select the desired check sheet and add it to the job. Remember to then save the job at the bottom here. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 4 of your Pro System Training session. In this chapter, we will cover courtesy cars. To view, edit, and create new courtesy cars, hover over the Jobs tab and select Courtesy Cars. Here, we can view existing courtesy cars in the system, edit or create new ones, view the calendar, and even add fuel records. Let's hit Show Calendar. This can be viewed as a day, week, or month view, so we can keep track of when the courtesy cars are out with customers and when they are due back. Let's create a new courtesy car record in TechMan by selecting New Courtesy Car or the blue plus button in the top left-hand side. Once your site has been selected, the mandatory fields are the registration, make, and model. However, you can record additional useful information such as the MOT date, road tax date, service date, the unavailability and reason. Once we've entered all of the desired information, make sure to hit Save. Now, going back to the All Courtesy Cars page. Not only can you see the current job the courtesy car is currently out on, but you can also add fuel records on the right-hand side. Firstly, we can select the courtesy car we'd like to add fuel records to. Next, we can add the date fueled, mileage, litres added and amount spent. We also have the option to add additional fuel record notes if needed. Lastly, if we select the fuel record in the top right, it displays all previously recorded fuel records, and this can be downloaded as a CSV file in the top right corner. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 5 of your Pro System Training session. In this chapter, we will cover customer setup. When creating new customers in the TechMan system, this is typically done when booking a job. However, you can also add them directly from your Customers tab. Hover over the Customers tab at the top of the TechMan system and select All Customers. In this screen, we can search for and manage existing customers. But let's create a new one by selecting the New Customers option in the top right corner. Let's start by using the postcode lookup field to obtain the address. Enter the postcode and click the search icon. Then choose the relevant address from the options displayed. Now let's select a title from the drop-down menu. Enter a first name and last name. Next up is the Hear About Us drop-down field. From here, you can select from where you acquired this new customer. Did they find you on social media? Or were you recommended to them by a friend? This is a useful tool to track how you are getting your new business. The Customer Groups field allows you to select from any pre-created groups you'd like to keep track of in your customer database. This might be categorizing your customers into groups such as account, electrical work, council. If you have multiple sites, then the next field, Default Site, will allow you to assign the relevant site to the new customer. This can be useful if you have multiple branches and would like to ensure that your customers are set up to reflect the branch they will use within your business. The accounting code field is used if you'd like to add a unique identifier to this customer beyond their TechMan customer number. These are often required when exporting to certain accounting softwares. The accounting department drop-down field allows you to select from multiple departments you might want to report against in TechMan. For example, you may have a workshop and a body shop department. This would then allow you to run accounting reports against each of your accounting departments. If the new customer being added is an account customer, then ensure you tick Account Customer. This allows you to filter when running statements and reports. Additionally, your invoiced account customer jobs will not display on the dashboard, but will instead show when you run their statement. Next, you have the option to select a sales tax code. This will default to your standard rate. Additionally, you can select whether or not VAT is applied to products and labour carried out for this customer. But don't worry, taxable will be ticked by default. Priority messages can be set for a customer, and this will then display the next time you attempt to book a job for them. It will display at the top of the customer information in a triangular warning box. If you need to go a step further than a priority message, you also have the ability to put this customer on stop. This will display a red warning banner when attempting to next book this customer in, alerting you to not proceed with the booking and instead check the notes or job history. Payment terms can be added as a number. This will allow you to see the time intervals you've set for this customer when running statements. In cases where you would like to ensure a customer reference is obtained before invoicing a customer, make sure you've ticked Require Customer Reference for Invoice. Now we can enter some contact information. Let's start by adding an email address in the email field. If you'd like to record additional email addresses, simply add a semicolon and continue entering the next address. Next, let's enter a telephone number and give it a description. To record additional telephone numbers, this can be achieved by clicking on the blue plus icon on the left to create additional number and description fields. Lastly, let's assign the notification preferences for this customer, starting with notifications enabled. You have the option to select yes, no, or unknown. This is whether the customer would like to receive correspondence regarding jobs or estimates. And on the right, we have vehicle reminders. Again, you have the option to select yes, no, or unknown. This is to opt in to receive MOT, service, or any other vehicle reminder set up in your TechMan system. Finally, the marketing opt-in is whether your customers are happy receiving news, offers, and promotions. You must again select between yes, no, and unknown. Once all the information you require has been entered, let's click the Save button at the bottom of the screen. Now we've created a new customer. There is a Customer Notes box beneath the Save button, in which we can record and detail notes regarding the customer and enter a follow-up date. We also have access to additional tabs to manage the customer. Firstly, we have the ability to add a customer contract if they have particular rates relating to labour or products. We can select a pre-existing template from our Contract Templates drop-down box. Alternatively, We can create a new labour or product contract ad hoc. We must associate the corresponding labour unit or product that this is going to apply to. Then add a unique contract price. Next, the Vehicles associated with this customer tab allows us to add vehicles to this customer by entering their registration in the Reg lookup and hitting Enter, or by clicking Add Vehicle. This may be relevant if it is a retail customer with several cars, or maybe an account customer with a number of vehicles. Once created, we can start a new job or new estimate from this line, or disassociate the vehicle entirely from the customer record. Scheduled job groups will display any previously created scheduled jobs for this customer's vehicles. For example, you may work and see an account customer's truck every 6 weeks for an inspection. This feature, however, is only available on the Advanced and Pro levels of TechMan. In the Customer Job History tab, you will be able to see a list of all the customer's vehicle history, whether current or previously associated. You will also be able to access the jobs from this screen. Similarly to the previous tab, the Customer Estimate History will display all previous estimates for this customer and their vehicles. The final tab is Customer Parts Only Sales History, which will display the previous invoices for the sales of parts exclusively. However, the Parts Only Sales feature is available exclusively on the Advanced and Pro levels of TechMan.
Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 6 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover Manage States. When using the terminal, technicians can select from a variety of states to confirm their next task. You can customize and create new states in the TechMan system based on the tasks your technicians need to complete. Let's start by hovering over the Personnel tab and selecting Manage States. Here we can see the existing states, ranging from break or lunch to workshop cleaning and collection/delivery. These can edit it to suit. For example, we may want to allow Can Use on completed jobs for the collection delivery state. Click on Edit on the right-hand side. Tick Can Use on completed jobs and hit Save. Let's run through what the different options do. Starting with Efficiency Reporting State. This is only enabled for the Work in Progress state, as it will record data for the efficiency report when used, as Work in Progress will be used when working on vehicles. Break state is enabled for the break and lunch states. However, if additional break states are created, then ensure you enable this so it factors into the reports correctly. Job number required makes it mandatory to record a job number when selecting a state. Job number not allowed is useful for states such as workshop cleaning, in which a vehicle wouldn't be involved. Can Used on completed jobs, as mentioned before, could be for delivery. The checked in state is the default option for checked in. And finally, Alert when used will display a notification on TechMan when a technician uses the state. If you'd like to create a new state, click the blue plus button in the top left corner. You'll be able to add a description of the state, a message, and assign the job status. The job will enter if this is a state used on jobs. Lastly, select the necessary options discussed previously, and then hit Save. Let's see what this looks like in action on the terminal. Once logged in, make sure the technician is checked in. You'll then be able to view the states available to use. Simply click on the state desired and hit Save. You should then see a confirmation here at the top. Alternatively, click on the Jobs tab and select a job. Then choose the Work in Progress state and Save State.
Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 7 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover personnel and user setup. To add new or edit existing technicians in TechMan, hover over the Personnel tab and select All Personnel. Here we can see all existing technicians listed with the option to edit each on the right-hand side. However, let's start by adding a new technician. Click on the blue plus icon on the top left-hand side. First, select the site for the technician and enter their first and last name. A login number is required, however. This feature won't be required unless you have the advanced or pro level of TechMan. We have the option to add an hourly rate for the technician. This will now be visible when using the job cell, cost and profit graphic on a job and displays via a technician column. Next, let's ensure that Show on Calendar is ticked in order to view this technician on your calendar and be able to assign labor to them. Additionally, Enabled will be ticked by default. If you'd like this technician to display on the calendar, but not necessarily factor into the availability for bookings, then you can tick Ignore Available Hours. This is great for examples where you have an owner or management that can assist with technician work, but might not be consistently available. Show in Current States will display the technician names on the right-hand side of your dashboard screen, but the features associated with this will only be apparent on the pro level of TechMan. Let's set up the personnel working hours next. We have the option to adjust the start and end time per day and the ability to copy this to the whole week. The auto checkout time is only applicable on the pro level of TechMan. On the right-hand side, we can allocate break hours or specific break times. This will display on your calendar and adjust your hours of availability accordingly. Once you're happy with the setup, simply scroll down and click Save to confirm. Before anyone can log into the TechMan system, they'll need to be set up as a user. So let's run through how this can be done. First, hover over the Settings tab and then click on Users. To add a new user, click on New User in the top right corner, or you can use the blue plus icon in the top left. Either works. We'll begin by entering a first name and last name. In this example, let's put John Smith. Then create a username. A good format to follow is first name.last name, but you can customize this however you'd like. Next, make sure you give the user a strong password. Adding an email address is important too. It allows the user to reset their password easily if they forget it. After that, select the default site for this user. If your business only has one location, you will only see one option here. Then set the default dashboard version to Digital Kanban board, Day. Now choose which sites this user will have access to. If they only need access to one site, just select that. You'll also want to decide which site should send them alerts. Next, we have User Alert Permissions. This section allows you to select which alerts a user will be able to see. Let's run through them. Please be advised. You can set alerts, however, this becomes relevant on the advanced and pro levels of TechMan. First, there's the Display Note Alert. This shows up when a user has created a dashboard note with an alert set. It will appear for the user it was created for. Then there's the Display Job Status Red Alert. This will display when a technician has used 100% of the allotted time on a job. You can adjust this in your alert settings. Similarly, the Display Job Status Amber Alert appears when a technician has used 80% of the allotted time on a job, and this can also be adjusted in your settings. The Display Job Status Alert will notify the user if a technician has moved a job to On Hold or Work Complete using the terminal. Next, we have the Display Check Sheet Alert. This is triggered when a technician completes a check sheet, and the user will receive an alert. With the Display Job Note Alert, if a technician adds a job note in TechView, it will show up as an alert for the user. The Display State Alert notifies the user whenever a technician changes their state. If there's a stock transfer updated between sites, the Display Stock Transfer Updated alert will show up for the user. Likewise, if a note is added to a stock transfer, the Display Stock Transfer Note Alert will notify the user. When a new stock transfer is actioned to another site, the Display New Stock Transfer Alert will appear. The Display Video Alert is triggered when a video is uploaded in TechView by a technician. The user will receive an alert for this as well. And finally, the Display Customer Authorized Work Alert lets the user know when a customer has authorized an estimate via the estimate portal. Now moving on to user permissions, and there are quite a few to choose from. The Set System Settings permission enables the user to make changes to the system's current setup. For example, how your vehicle reminders are configured or how message templates are edited. Manage Users allows this user to create and manage other users in your TechMan system, including editing, the very permissions we're looking at right now. With managing personnel, the user can make changes to existing technician setups. This might include adjusting their working hours or changing how their name appears in your calendar. The adding lines below. Cost permission allows users to set a selling price lower than the product's cost price when working on a job. Sell below minimum markup gives users the ability to bypass the minimum markup set in your system settings. It also allows them to override markups applied to specific categories and subcategories. If a user can see reports, they'll be able to generate reports in TechMan, including sales and accounting reports. Can create returns allows users to generate returns for products that have been received in, particularly when tracking parts through purchase orders. Can refund enables users to process and create refunds. With TechView alerts, it's important to note that users won't receive alert notifications, including alerts for any notes that were specifically created for them. Can Manage Accounts provides access to the Accounts tab. This includes features like statements, departments, nominal codes, and tax codes. Can Manage Stock gives the user access to the stock management options under the Products tab. From there, they'll be able to manually adjust stock levels. Can Access Workshop allows the user to access the workshop area. Can Access Car Sales enables the user to view and use the car sales dashboard. Please note that, as compared to the advanced and pro levels of TechMan, car sales does not come as standard with the Lite package. However, this can be added as a bolt-on. Can Access Parts Only Sales allows the user to use the Parts Only Sales option from the Dashboard tab. With this, they can create jobs and generate invoices specifically for products. If Can Edit Dashboard Calendar is enabled, the user will be able to manage and make changes to the dashboard calendar. Can Amend Invoice Date allows the user to change the invoice date after a job has been invoiced. Can Uninvoice gives permission to reverse or undo an invoice once it's been generated. Can Edit Account Customers means the user can edit and update details for account customers. Can Sign Off Check Sheets allows the user to sign off check sheets that have been completed by technicians. Again, this is for the advanced and pro levels of TechMan. Can Sign Off Videos enables the user to review and approve any videos that have been recorded. With Can Send Bulk Emails, users can send out bulk communications, for instance, emailing multiple invoices to the same customer. Can Override Technician Hours gives the user the ability to adjust a technician's logged hours. Can Edit Technician States enables users to create or edit technician states which are used within Terminal. This, of course, is for Pro TechMan packages. Can Delete Purchase Order Products gives permission to remove products from a purchase order once a purchase order has been created. Can Add to Associated Purchase Orders allows the user to add items to already created purchase orders. Can Manage Suppliers and Depots grants access to the Suppliers and Depots section in the Products tab. From there, users can create new suppliers or edit existing ones. Can Manage Labour Units gives the user access to the Labour Units area under the Jobs tab, letting them edit existing labour units or create new ones. And finally, Can Change Tax and Nominal Codes allows the user to access the Nominal Codes and Tax Codes options in the Accounts tab. They'll be able to edit existing entries or create new ones. Once you've gone through all these settings and chosen what's right for the user, just save your changes. They'll then be able to log in and start using TechMan with all the access they need. Hi there. In this chapter, we will cover personnel holidays. Personnel holidays can be added to the TechMan system to track technician holidays and manage bookings and availability effectively. Hover over the Personnel tab and select Personnel Holidays. Here we can see all existing personnel holidays that have been added, along with filter options to search by specific technicians, date ranges, and holiday types. Let's create a new personnel holiday record by selecting the blue plus button in the top left-hand side. Let's select a technician from the drop-down menu and choose the date range they will be unavailable from. Then from the drop-down menu, select a holiday type that best fits the criteria. In this instance, let's select annual leave. A reason can be added here and will display when viewing the holiday on the dashboard and the month view. Lastly, notes can be added and the option of selecting half day before hitting save. Let's return to the dashboard to view how the holidays display. As we can see, The personnel holiday displays in the booked column on the left-hand side to give you visibility of technician availability for the day being looked at. On the right-hand side of the dashboard, the technician's current state will show a red band and reference the unavailability. If we click on the month diary view, the holiday displays on the relevant days and includes the reason added. Lastly, when viewing the calendar, a red block will display in the column of the unavailable technician. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 8 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover supplier and product setup. To create a new or edit an existing supplier in your TechMan system, hover over the Products tab and select Suppliers and Depots. From here, you'll be able to see any existing suppliers in the system, along with their name, contact information, address, accounting code, and whether they're enabled. These can be edited by selecting the Edit button on the right-hand side. However, let's start by creating a new supplier. Click on New Supplier in the top right corner. From your supplier creation screen, you can enter a contact title, first name, and last name for the representative of this supplier. This is useful if you have a point of contact for the supplier. However, it is not required. Next, let's add the company name, address line 1, postcode, and telephone number. If you'd like to add additional address information, you can also record the town, county, and address line 2. However, these fields can be automatically populated using the postcode lookup feature, if you choose to use it. You can then enter a mobile number if applicable, followed by the general email address for the supplier. When using the send function on a purchase order, the system will use the email address entered in the purchase order email field, so let's make sure to add that in. Similarly, when sending a return, the email address in the returns email field will be used. If you have accounting code set up for your suppliers in your accounts package, you can record that information in the accounting code field. You can then select your account department. This may simply be your business name unless you've set up separate departments for reporting purposes, such as workshop, body shop, internal, or car sales. If the supplier is VAT registered, make sure VAT registered is ticked as enabled. This ensures VAT is applied to purchase orders against this supplier. Also, make sure the supplier is marked as enabled. Don't worry, this is usually ticked by default. If the supplier only accepts a maximum number of products per return, you can enter that limit in the relevant field. This will prevent exceeding the limit when creating a compiled return. Lastly, you have the option to add a description of the supplier before clicking Save to finalize the setup. Now let's move on to creating a product. Hover over the Products tab and select All Products. In this screen, you'll be able to create new products or edit existing ones. You can search for a product and also filter your results using the drop-down menus for supplier, subcategory, and taxable. To adjust an existing product, click the Edit button on the right-hand side. However, let's click New Product in the top right corner to begin. At the top of the screen, you'll see options for tracked and not tracked. By selecting Tracked, the system will create a purchase order for the product. This allows you to record the supplier invoice details when receiving the product. If you choose Not Tracked, a purchase order won't be created and stock levels for the product won't be recorded. Please note, if the product you're adding is a tyre, be sure to select the Product is a tyre option. This will open additional fields for entering tyre-specific information like brand, width, ratio, EU ratings, and more. Let's start by entering a product number, a product description, and selecting a supplier from the drop-down list. You can also enter an ordering product number if it differs from the actual part number and add a custom description if needed. Now choose a subcategory from the drop-down list that best fits the product. This will automatically assign the correct nominal and tax codes to the product. Keep in mind, this is especially important when products are set up as tracked. Next, enter the cost price and choose whether to apply a markup percentage. Alternatively, you can simply type in a sale price directly, bypassing the markup calculation. The EAN field allows you to record the 13-digit European article number if you need it. The cross-reference field can be used to store the OE or OEM number, helping you locate the product from other suppliers. Because we've already selected a subcategory, the fields for sales nominal code, sales tax code, purchase nominal code, and purchase tax code will be automatically populated. Make sure taxable is ticked if VAT needs to be applied when adding the product to a job. Also, ensure enabled is ticked so the product is active and usable. If you need to sell in decimal quantities, for example oils or fluids, enable allow decimal quantities. Ticking use average. Cost means the system will update the cost price of the product based on values entered in received purchase orders. You can also enable add to every job/estimate, which will automatically include this product in every new job or estimate created. Similarly, add to every tire on job/estimate will include the product each time a tire is added to a job or estimate. Finally, if the product has a surcharge, you'll be able to record the surcharge part number and surcharge amount here. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 9 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover account setup. To enter the nominal and tax codes used in your accounts into your TechMan system, you can edit existing and set up new codes in the Accounts tab. Let's hover over the Accounts tab and start with nominal codes. Here you can see the existing nominal codes. You can edit them on the right-hand side or click the plus button to create a new one. We'll start with editing the existing sales nominal code. Here I'll edit the nominal code to match my accounts. I'll keep the description the same in this instance as it is the default sales nominal code that we're editing. Furthermore, this means we can keep sales default ticked. Let's hit save to confirm our changes. Next, let's edit our default purchase nominal code. I'll enter the nominal code that matches my accounts, and once again I'll keep the description the same to exactly match the name in my accounts. This will be our purchase default nominal code, so let's ensure that purchase default is ticked and hit save. Next, let's create a new nominal code by hitting the plus button on the top left-hand side. So let's enter 4001 as the nominal code, with the description as tire, as this will be our tire nominal code. Now let's take a look at tax codes. Hover over the Accounts tab and select Tax Codes. Let's edit our sales tax code to match accounts. Enter the tax code and description. Ensure this is ticked as the sales default. Lastly, I'll ensure the tax percent matches the standard VAT rate I require and hit save. Now that we've adjusted our nominal and tax codes, let's make sure they are allocated to the appropriate labour and products in TechMan. First, let's hover over the Jobs tab and select Labour Types. In this screen, let's ensure the relevant sales nominal codes and sales tax codes are allocated to their corresponding labour type. These can be adjusted by clicking Edit on the right-hand side. So let's have a look here at our tire fit labour type. Simply hit Edit on the right-hand side of this labour type and click on the drop-down here under Sales Nominal Code. We can now see the new 4001 code, so let's choose that and hit Save. Alternatively, by hovering over the Jobs tab again and this time selecting Labour Units, you'll be able to adjust the Sales Nominal Code and Sales Tax Code of specific labour units as opposed to the broader labour type. Again, these can be altered by clicking on the Edit button on the right-hand side and selecting from the relevant drop-down menus. So let's have a look at the tire fit labour code by clicking Edit on the right here. And as you can see on the left, we can choose the 4001 nominal code we created via the drop-down, then simply click Save. Next, let's take a look at allocating the correct nominal codes and tax codes against products. In TechMan, the defaults we set previously will be used. However, you can tailor these in more detail by assigning them to categories and subcategories the products correspond to. Hover over the Products tab and select Categories and Subcategories. Let's edit our tyres category. In here, you can set the sales nominal code, sales tax code, purchase nominal code, and purchase tax code based on the overall category. let's save our changes. Furthermore, you can assign your nominal and tax codes at the subcategory level too. Simply edit the subcategory on the right-hand side, assign the appropriate codes, and update your subcategory. If you've already created bookings or invoiced jobs in your TechMan system, don't worry, we've got you covered. Contact our team and we'll be able to apply your newly adjusted nominal and tax codes to existing bookings or already invoiced jobs. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 10 of your Pro System training session. In the next few chapters, we will explore various aspects of settings. Hi there. In this chapter, we will cover sites. Confirming our site information is important as these details will appear on our documents, such as invoices and estimates. Additionally, we can make adjustments to site prefixes, such as job and invoice numbers. First, hover over the Settings tab and select Sites. Now, click on Edit next to your site details. Here we have the option to edit site name, address details, contact information and other important information relating to the business, such as VAT and company number. Send email as user, if enabled. Email sent from the system will have the relevant user's email address in the From field, if available. If this is not available, the email recorded on the site will be used in its place. The SMS alias is what will display when customers receive SMS reminders from TechMan. We can at this point add our site logo here on the left. First choose a file, then once this is loaded, simply click Upload Logo. This will then reflect across all documents. Next up, we have site prefixes. These are the prefixes associated to job numbers, invoice numbers, estimate numbers, and much more. As a standard, these will already be populated. However, you can edit these prefixes if you'd like to personalize your TechMan system. The numbers following the prefixes will begin at 100001 and ascend from there. Once you've made any adjustments, ensure you've clicked the Update button at the bottom of the page. Hi there. In this chapter, we will cover devices. We'll now go through how to edit and create new devices in your TechMan system. Devices are located within the settings, under the drop-down below Site sublocations. When you go into Devices, this will show you any that have already been created and are in use, both devices and their authentication keys. The layout works from left to right. You can see the date of creation, the device name, the authentication key for each corresponding device, when it was last used, and the main access level assigned to that key. This allows you to customize access so a device can be limited to terminal only, TechView only, wallboard only, or have access to multiple features. The final column is enabled. This indicates whether an authentication key is active. If a staff member leaves the business, you can disable their key, which will immediately prevent them from accessing or re-authenticating on any device. To create a new device, you can select New Device in the top right corner, or click the blue plus icon at the end of Manage Devices. From here, you can begin the process of creating authentication keys for individual devices. You start by inputting a device name. This name can be anything you like. You can use the technician's name or describe what it's for. For example, it could be David's tablet. Next, input an authentication key. This must be unique and cannot have been used before, but you can choose the key format yourself. You can then select the specific access permissions for Terminal, TechView, or Wallboard. You can also choose whether to allow or hide the on-screen keyboard. You then decide whether you want the device to be enabled or disabled at this point. If you are a single-site business, you will only have one site option. However, if you are a multi-site business, you can specify which site the device should be available on. Once you've selected the site allocation, you can click Save. That is the authentication key created. What I can now show you is how the authentication key is put into use and how you can authenticate a device. Each authentication key is unique to one device meaning every device will need its own key. Once created, you simply input the key on the device and click Authenticate. That is the device authenticated. From here, the technician can use their technician ID and PIN to access any jobs allocated to them. Hi there. In this video, we will cover templates. Let's take a look at message templates. Hover over the Settings tab and select Templates. On this screen, you'll see the pre-existing templates in the TechMan system. Some of these will be associated with automated reminders such as MOT, service, or booking reminders. We can edit existing templates by clicking Edit on the right-hand side. But let's create a new template by either clicking in the top right corner or hitting the blue plus button on the top left. From the template creation screen, we can start by selecting what type of template we're creating. In this instance, let's make an SMS template and call it Vehicle Ready for Collection. You can free type in the content box to create your message template. However, we can use our template content keywords below to help us construct the message and pull key information through. Let's start by adding the greeting and the customer's full name keywords in the message. Using the greeting keyword, the system will display a greeting depending on the time of day. There are 3 possible values: good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Furthermore, the customer full name keyword will pull through the customer's full name, including title if available. Next, let's enter the message and include the vehicle reg keyword and sign off by using the garage name keyword after sending our regards. Once we're happy with the content of the message, simply click Save. Hi there. In this chapter, we will cover integrations. To view and set up integrations within TechMan, hover over the Settings tab and select Integrations. Let's start with supplier integrations. First, we have LKQ Euro car parts. We'll be able to select the site and the relevant supplier already set up in the system, then enter the account number. As there is the option to have multiple accounts connected, we can select which one is to be the default. Next up, we have the GSF and Napa supplier integrations. The same applies here. The site and relevant supplier can be connected, along with the account and the default option chosen. Just let us know if you have an account with one of the aforementioned suppliers and are interested in setting up the integration, and a member of our team can assist with the final setup. These supplier integrations will allow you to select products from the live integration, see your local branch's livestock levels, and even order directly through the TechMan system. Next, we have our integrations for automotive data and technical information for professionals. Haynes Pro and Autodata can both be integrated into TechMan. Firstly, with the default labour unit, this is what will be added to a job or estimate when adding repair times directly from the integrations. Secondly, the default service schedule labour unit will be used when adding service lines from your integrations directly to a job or estimate. Now, moving on to Payment Assist, which is a finance option that can be integrated into TechMan. If you have an account with Payment Assist, you'll be able to enter your API details in the integration here. However, you must ensure that your Payment Assist payment method is enabled in Settings. If you have a card machine that you'd like to integrate into the TechMan system, this can be done with Take Payments, Payment Sense, and Dojo. Contact our team if you'd like to learn more and set up an integrated card machine. Finally, if your chosen accounting software is QuickBooks, then it can be directly integrated into the TechMan system. Once you've clicked Connect to QuickBooks, you'll have the option to assign your default nominal and tax codes. These, along with any others you utilize, will need to be added to the nominal and tax codes in your TechMan system, as well as assigning to the relevant product categories, subcategories, labour types, and labour units. Hi there. In this chapter, we will cover job statuses. Job statuses are useful for categorizing where the job is up to within your internal process. These are displayed on the dashboard, among other places, and you can move bookings between the relevant job statuses. To edit existing or add new job statuses, hover over the Settings tab and select Job Statuses. Below we can see our existing job statuses. Each is assigned a colour which will be visible on the dashboard in addition to the calendar. System reserved statuses are required and cannot be altered. However, you can adjust any others by hitting the Edit button on the right-hand side. Here you can change the text, colour, enable it, and even relate it to a relevant state. Please be advised, this will have an impact on the advanced and pro levels of TechMan. To create a new status, simply click on New Job Status in the top right corner, or use the blue plus button on the top left-hand side. Similarly to when editing, here you can assign job status text a colour, enable it, and assign a state. Hi there. In this chapter we will cover vehicle reminders. Vehicle reminders can be set up within your system to automatically send out via both SMS and email. They are used for sending MOT reminders, service reminders, and any additional reminders that might be relevant to how the business operates. To create a new or adjust an existing reminder, hover over the Settings tab and select Vehicle Reminders. Here we can see the existing vehicle reminders and a breakdown of expired, current, or not recorded dates in the system, whether or not the reminder is enabled, set up for SMS, email, and even what time of day the reminder is set to go out. Let's click Edit on the right-hand side of the next MOT reminder. Here we can adjust what time of day the reminder is sent out. If it's enabled for SMS and enabled for email. The report email address will send you a report of all sent reminders. Next up, you can select the specific labour type and labour unit that this reminder is connected to. This is used to determine if the particular labour unit type has already been booked in for the vehicle, meaning the reminder doesn't need to be sent. The default next date days is set to 365 days for the MOT and service reminders. As once invoiced, it will queue the reminder for the following year. However, if you're creating a new reminder that might require following up in 6 months or even 2 years, it can be adjusted using this field. Below, we can set how many reminders the customer will receive and also how many days before the due date they will receive the reminder. We have this set to send 3 texts and 3 emails, 45, 30 and 15 days before the due date. If we book in the assigned labour type or slot as shown previously, the TechMan system will not queue any additional reminders that might have otherwise been sent. A template must be assigned to each reminder, both email and SMS, if you're using both. If you're creating a new reminder, you will also need to create a new template for the message that will be sent out. Please refer back to the template section to see how this is created. The reminder expiry can be set in order to display a red or amber colour in the reminder field when looking at the vehicle details. This can be set based on the number of days before the expiry.
Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 11 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover booking process. There are a few different ways of creating a new booking in your TechMan system, either from the New Job tab in the top right-hand corner or from the month view. The easiest method, however, is to use the registration lookup feature on your dashboard. Let's enter the vehicle registration here. Click Lookup, and then New Job. You'll now be able to see the vehicle details on the left side, with the option to add or alter vehicle reminders on the right. Next, let's scroll down and add our customer details. Start by entering a title, first name, and last name. Just a heads up, the name fields are mandatory, so you won't be able to continue without them. After that, you can fill in the postcode, address line 1, a phone number. Don't forget to include a description like mobile or landline, and an email address if you wish. Once that's done, it's time to set the notification preferences. In this case, The customer wants to receive correspondence and reminders, so make sure all three options are set to yes. When you're ready, click Add Customer to save the record. Now that the customer has been added, we can move on to entering job notes, labor units, and products for the booking. Starting with job notes, here we can add any important information about the booking, something the customer has mentioned, or even to remind yourself at a later date. Let's add a note that the customer would like to be called only between 3 to 5 p.m. The customer won't have visibility of job notes. These are purely for your internal note-taking regarding this particular booking. You can also add a follow-up date and time as a reminder to staff. Next, let's add some labor units to our booking. I'll start by typing in DIAG, selecting our diagnostic line and clicking Add Labor Unit. You can enter the details into the custom description as to what needs to be diagnosed or actioned, in this instance, knocking noise. Let's add another labor unit. I'll add in Silver Service and click Add Labor Unit. Now we could finish creating the booking at this point and add the products at a later date. But for the purpose of this video, let's add our parts now and start with our supplier integrations. Click on an integrated supplier here in the product section. Select the category of the product you are looking for and select from the manufacturing options. Then click Add. Our product number, description and cost price fields will already be filled. So let's select a subcategory and confirm our sale price. For this part, you also have the option of adjusting the margin field or sale price field. Then click Add New Product. And as you can see here, the product has been added via the integrated parts supplier. Next, let's add a product without using one of the integrated suppliers by selecting Create Product. In the top right-hand corner, you can see we have the options of tracked and not tracked. By selecting Tracked, TechMan will create a purchase order against the supplier for this product. Within the purchase order, you'll be able to record the supplier invoice details and inform the system that the product has been received into the business for use on this job. Once you've received in the product, from there you'll be able to create a return and even log the credit information. By selecting Not Tracked, a purchase order will not be created. Instead, the system will assume we have an external process tracking our parts, returns, and credits. Now let's select the supplier from the drop-down menu. Enter the product number, a subcategory, a description of the product, the cost price, and either the margin or sale price fields. Once again, now hit Add New Product. Alternatively, if the product has already been created in the system, we can simply type in the search bar the part number or the description, and we can select it from here. If this is an insurance job, you will have the option to enter both the excess and insurance customer in order to produce an excess invoice. This will then split the invoice with the relevant VAT implications, depending on if the excess customer is VAT registered or not. Lastly, let's confirm our booking date and time and allocate a deadline of the job if necessary. We have the option of selecting if the job is a collection, delivery, recovery, waiting on site, or valet. Prior to confirming the job, you will have the option of selecting View Calendar. Here we can see what the suggested labour on the job will look like on the calendar view amongst your other booked work for that date. Once you're happy with the details, click Create Job. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 12 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover Terminal. The terminal is an integral part of tracking hours spent on jobs and for users of TechMan to receive live feedback on work in progress, on hold, or work complete jobs. The dashboard of the terminal displays both the productive efficiency and the overall efficiency of the technician for the current month. Additionally, we can see technicians, the current state selected, when they started using the state, the current time spent on that state, any job numbers that have been logged onto, and the vehicle registration. Let's log into the terminal as Tech1 by entering the technician ID and PIN, which can be found in the TechMan system in the Personnel tab. Once logged in, 3 tabs are visible at the top of our screen: States, Jobs and Efficiency History. Let's hit the green check-in button. We'll now have to select our state for our first task. From here, we can select a state. Let's choose Open Workshop and hit the Save State option on the right-hand side. Our terminal dashboard has now updated and is displaying Tech1 on the current state of Open Workshop, the time stated and current progress. If we check the dashboard of TechMan, we can also see the technician's states on the right-hand side, with Tech1 displaying as Open Workshop. Next, let's use the terminal to log on to a job as a technician. Logging back in as Tech1, we don't have to check in again as we've already done that and are currently on the Open Workshop state. Now let's hit the Jobs tab at the top. Here, the technician will be able to see a list of jobs for which labor has been assigned to them. Each job displays the start time, job number, customer, reg, vehicle make and model, status, deadline, a key tag number if assigned. Before we select a job, we can also check any job notes that have been added in TechMan, and the technician is able to save notes directly from the terminal. By clicking anywhere on the job line, it will display a preview of the labor units and products on the job, as well as a green tick if a product has been received in on a purchase order. Let's hit Select on the job. Now we need to choose the Work in Progress state and click Save State. The technician will now see the time allowed on the job, with the time spent so far and the time left to utilize. Back on the TechMan system, the job will now be assigned to the Work in Progress job status, with a flashing green light to indicate a technician is currently on this job. Additionally, using the technician states display on the right-hand side, we can see that Tech1 is currently logged onto the Work in Progress state, and there is a reference to the registration of the vehicle, the job number and the time spent on that state so far. Once Tech1 has carried out all assigned labor, they can return to the terminal screen to log back in. Now there are new options for the On Hold and Work Complete job statuses. Selecting either of these options will move the job to the corresponding job status in TechMan. You can create additional on-hold statuses to better manage your jobs. These can be created and edited in Settings and Job Statuses in your TechMan system. Let's hit Work Complete. The technician will now see another reference to time allowed, time taken, and the job efficiency in the Work Complete summary. Once the technician has finished their day, let's hit Checkout. Lastly, the technician will now get an update on their overall efficiency. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 13 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover TechView. To log into TechView, you need to enter your technician ID and PIN. These can be found in the Personnel tab within TechMan. Once logged in, you will see a list of the technician's jobs where they have been allocated labor. So take a look at our job in question here, so we can view certain details: the job number, booking date and time, the vehicle, any check sheets that have been added to the job, as well as the job status that has been assigned in the TechMan system, which is vehicle arrived on site in this instance, and the customer. So let's go ahead and click Load Job. From here, you will see your digital job sheet in TechView. It starts at the top with the job number and the date. At the very top, you start on the Job Details tab. However, you also have a couple of other tabs at the top you can utilize. The second tab is your picking list. This will show you any products necessary to complete the job. It will reference the product number, if added, the description of the parts, the stock source or supplier. And if you are using purchase orders to track product receipt, you will also see whether the office has marked the purchase order as received. The next tab is the Videos tab. Here, you will see any videos that have been added to the job. Typically, one is automatically added, but more can be added as well. To take a video, simply hit Record Video. You will need to click the blue button to enable the camera, and then you can start recording. Once done, you will be able to click Save. Let's return to the Job Details tab. Firstly, we have some fields where you can enter general information. On the right-hand side, the vehicle mileage field is a key one, as it is necessary before invoicing. Anything you enter into these fields will be recorded for the next time the vehicle comes in, and will also be visible to the office side within TechMan. In this section, you can enter useful information such as tire sizes, oil capacities, torque settings, and locking wheel nut locations. If you enter tread depths for the vehicle, these will be recorded and will display on the customer's invoice. Just underneath the registration, you have the option to view the vehicle history. When you click this, you'll see all previous jobs for that vehicle, including past labor, products, completed check sheets, and any public notes. Next, you have access to Haynes Pro, or in some cases, Autodata. You can click into this to use any of the technical information and features available to assist in completing the job. For example, you might want to use fuse locations or wiring diagrams, anything needed to complete the task. If we scroll down, you'll see the customer details and the option to record location 1 and location 2 in TechMan. These will display in TechView if the customer has multiple locations. Further down, you can see any labor units that have been added to the job, just above any parts. On the right-hand side, there is a slider you can use to tick when labor has been completed. There is also a slider for products to indicate when they have been fitted. Next, we have check sheets. Here, a vehicle health check has been added. So let's click View All Checks to see an overview of all the questions we need to complete for this check sheet. Let's start with question 1. Please photo any damage. Click Answer. And in this instance, we're going to say no, as there is no damage. Questions in TechView can sometimes be set up as yes/no questions, with the option to add additional notes. Others may use a traffic light system, red, amber, green, or simply be marked as satisfactory. You always have the option to add a supporting image to any answer. So let's hit Next and move to question 2, Brake Visual Check Wheels on. Again, you can fill in the fields. Additional notes can be entered below, and you can set the attention level using red, amber, or green. Again, you have the option to attach a supporting image if needed. Once you've completed your check sheet, ensure all questions have been answered. Then click Complete. If public view is enabled, this will ensure the customer can view the check sheet in the estimate portal, if the job is linked to an estimate. Next, we have job notes. The technician will be able to see any job notes added from TechMan. In this case, a note has been added to not move the driver's seat. The technician can also add their own notes. So let's add a note to please order front brake discs. Once the note has been added, it will trigger an alert in the TechMan system so the office can action it. Next, we have the option to add job images. This can be useful as there may not always be a check sheet on the job. It gives you an extra method of attaching images if necessary. Customer signature. If you need to get a signature from a customer, you can record the signature below and print the customer's name. Once you've recorded all the necessary information for the job sheet, simply click Save Job. From here, You can either log out in the top right-hand corner or click Load Job to choose another job and carry on with your next task. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 14 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover estimates and conversions. To start a new estimate, you can hit the New Estimate button here in the top right of the screen. Alternatively, you can start it from the registration lookup here on the dashboard. So let's enter a registration and click Lookup. Now select New Estimate. On the left here we have vehicle details, such as the registration, vehicle make and model, VIN number, as well as the engine code. On the right-hand side of the vehicle details, we have the vehicle reminders such as Next MOT and Next Service. You can input a date here or click the MOT refresh button to capture the vehicle's recorded MOT date. Now, let's assign the customer. If this is a one-off walk-in customer, you can select one-off. Fewer details will be required, and you can simply record the customer's name and contact information. If you'd like to create a more detailed customer record, select New Existing. Let's enter a postcode, a first name, a last name, a telephone number, and an email address. Next, let's assign the customer's notification preferences. In this instance, our customer would like to receive correspondence and reminders. So ensure the three options have Yes selected. To finish adding the new record, click Add Customer. Now let's add in our labor units. We'll add 2 lines of standard labor and type the suggested works in the custom description boxes. First, let's add in LAB1, as this is our standard labor unit for all jobs. And type in this box, Fit Battery. Let's add another LAB1 labor unit and type in the box, Fit Discs and Pads. We aim to separate this to help our customer clearly understand the tasks ahead. Next, let's add the products. First up, let's add the battery. Then the brake discs, and lastly, brake pads. Before we move on, let's create some groups to arrange the products and labor together. Select the Groups button and add a battery category and a brakes category. Then press Close. Now we'll be able to drag and drop both our labor and parts into their corresponding groups using the 3 dots on the left-hand side. Lastly, let's select an expiry date and time for this estimate. The public notes box can be used to relay additional information to the customer on the estimate. To finalize, click Save Estimate. Once you've created your estimate, you'll have the option to add a note and a follow-up date. In order to view the PDF of the estimate and print a copy, we'll need to hover over the Download button and select our estimate. From here, you'll be able to print from the top right corner. Alternatively, to email a copy, hover over Email and select your estimate. Select your estimate template and hit Send. You can also manually type the content of your email and even preview before sending. You can convert the estimate into a job by hitting the Create Job option in the top right corner. However, if you didn't have the page open, you can hover over Estimates and select All Estimates. From here, you'll be able to view your estimates. Let's view the one we've just created and hit the Create Job option on the right-hand side. Now that your estimate has been converted into a job, You can scroll down and select a date and time for the booking. Select Show Calendar if you'd like to preview what that would look like in the calendar. Then hit Create Job. And there we have it. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 15 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover invoicing process. Let's go through the invoice process. First, find the Work Complete job on your dashboard and click on the job number to open the peek view. Then, click the job number at the top left of the window to open the job. Before we invoice the job, we need to check that all mandatory fields, such as the vehicle mileage, are completed. Then we need to check that all purchase orders are in a goods received status at the bottom of the job details page. Once this is completed, we can click the Generate Invoice button at the top of the page on the light blue bar, and then click Continue when the warning pop-up appears. Your job has now been invoiced. You can now download and print your invoice from the Download drop-down, or email the invoice from the Email drop-down. To attach a payment, you will need to click on Make a Payment. Then select a payment method from the drop-down. Once selected, click Save. And this will attach the payment detailing the date recorded, user, payment method, and amount. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 16 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover accounts export. Here we'll cover how to export from your TechMan system for accounting purposes. We'll cover how to export your sales invoices and any information you've recorded from supplier invoices, returns, or credits. To start, select Reports and open your Accounting Reports menu. In this menu, you'll see your customer's invoice/credit report and its itemized version. Next is the supplier invoice/credit report and its itemized counterpart. Additionally, you'll also have the option to use the customer payments/refunds report and sales by nominal code report should you require them. Let's begin with the customer invoice/credit report. As described, this report lists customer invoices where the invoice date is within the selected date range, and lists customer refunds which were created within the selected date range. The date range will default to the current month. However, you can adjust the date range as desired should you wish to export daily or weekly instead. If you have multiple accounting departments, you'll be able to choose between them with the drop-down menu, along with selecting which site you're running the report for if you have a TechMan multi-site. Lastly, we have the option to include already exported invoices if we'd like to see them again. As previously exported invoices will not display unless you've selected this option. Now, let's generate our report. In addition to the customer registration and customer number, the report will also display the relevant nominal and tax codes used, the invoice date, a reference to the invoice and job number, and the monetary figures associated with the invoice such as the net amount, VAT amount, and total. In order to export, we'll need to hover over the download option in the top right corner. Here we can download the report as a CSV file, but we also have different CSV formats ready, depending on what accounting software you have. Let's move on to the supplier itemized invoice/credit report next. Let's go back to our Reports tab. Select the Accounting Reports menu. Then choose the supplier itemized invoice/credit report. The filter options are the same as before, with the exception being that you can search by the invoice or credited date, or the goods received note date. Once we've selected our chosen date range, hit Generate Report. Here we can see the supplier name and document date. Importantly, it will display the invoice/credit number from the supplier, along with the purchase order and returns number generated by TechMan with the relevant net, VAT and total values. To finish, let's hover over Downloads, where we can download as a CSV file or choose the corresponding CSV file for the accounting software used. Hi there. Welcome to Chapter 17 of your Pro System training session. In this chapter, we will cover daily reports. First, select the Reports tab. Select Sales Reports. Then Day-End Report. From here, the date range will automatically be assigned to today's date. You can simply hit Generate Report. Now, we'll see everything invoiced and paid today. It will display the job number, invoice number, registration with the customer, as well as the payment method used. This report will also reference the account customer invoices in addition to what was VATable or non-VATable. Lastly, you will get breakdowns and totals of the sale, VAT and profit figures with the profit percentage too. The day-end report will display other useful data points you may need to keep an eye on, such as refunds created and paid, a month-to-date summary, a VAT summary, anything remaining unpaid, any open supplier returns that have not yet been credited, and supplier credits received. If any products have been sold at or below cost, they will display here. Next, if any invoices have had their dates amended or have been uninvoiced, they will appear here. Lastly, you will be able to view the data on the estimate statistics per user in your system, displaying the net sell, margin and margin percentage. Thank you for watching this comprehensive training series covering all 17 chapters for your Pro system.
We hope you found it informative and helpful for your needs. Be sure to check out our other videos for more tips, insights, and best practices to help you get the most out of our tools and resources.
Until next time.